Okay, so now that we have the entire foundation pretty much fleshed out, now it's time to write the drop. I always typically work in this order because I feel like for the drop to reach its max potential, the rest of the song has to sound amazing. If the drums aren't hitting right, if the bass isn't hitting right, anything I add in the drop is just gonna sound off because the rest of the track is sounding off. So I'm gonna break this up into 2 chapters. In the first chapter, we're gonna be writing our acid pattern, and then in the second chapter, I'm gonna be filling out the drop with like secondary drop elements like synth sounds, ear candy, random one-shots here and there, just stuff to generally spice it up. So let's first start with the acid pattern. So let's make a MIDI track and then let's add our Serum. So now let's find the preset. I always like to find the right preset or sound first because that's going to influence the type of pattern I write. So we can go into our Elysium Serum presets. Okay, I really like this one. This one's like distorted, but it's still dynamic. It's not just completely smashed. So I think I want to write a pattern with this preset. We'll call this track Acid Darkness, and then we'll hit Command G to group it, and we'll title this Drop Synths. And then let's go ahead, we'll make this pink color. And now let's start writing our acid pattern. So for this acid sound, I'm gonna make a 1-bar pattern and then just loop that across the drop and see where we're at. So let's highlight between bar 77 and 78, and we'll hit Command Shift M to make a new MIDI track. And then I'm gonna find my root note, which is A sharp. All right, so I'm gonna make this pattern at A sharp 1, and then A sharp 0 sounds good too, so I could always like dip down an octave or dip up an octave. So let's double click. And I'm gonna shorten this a bit just because I don't want these MIDI notes to be touching. I just find that it sounds better when each MIDI note has a little bit of space before the next one starts. So then let's just make sure we're on 16th note grids and we'll duplicate this across. Then let's turn this down like -15 dBs because it's really loud. Okay, and that's our sound. So something quick to note is a lot of these Serum presets, they have this built-in accent, and you can adjust the accent with this macro 4, but it's set up so if you lower the velocity past a certain point, it won't trigger the accent. So let's select all these notes and we're gonna hit Command, and then we're just gonna drag down. So this is really useful because what we're gonna do is we're gonna like raise the velocity of some of these to punch in accents. So you can see what the accent is doing. It just creates a little bit of variation in the pattern. So let's bring that back down so all the velocities are at 0 or 1. And then the reason why I like to make 16th notes across all at the root note is because we can just pick and choose which notes we want to move around. We can bump it up an octave, turn it down an octave, turn the velocity up. We can adjust the length of each notes, pick different notes in general. So starting with a 16th note pattern is like the foundation of these acid patterns. So let's select this MIDI clip and we can hit Command L, so we're looping this section. And then let's just start playing around with the acid pattern. I'm gonna take this first note and let's try turning it down an octave. So we're not only creating like a melody, but you can also hear a little bit of a rhythm happening based on which notes we're picking. So let's try to accent that rhythm even more. If we overlap this note, it'll create like a tie, so it'll glide down to the next note. And let's turn up the velocity for this one. Yeah, I do like the tie. I think we're gonna have to add some sort of like delay or reverb effect there because I'm not exactly happy with the way the rhythm is, but we'll get to that. I do like this as a pattern though. So let's maybe go into the Serum preset and start adjusting some of these macros. So we have our cutoff. We have the envelope amount, which is the amount that our envelope is modulating our cutoff. So we have a macro that controls which wavetable is playing, so we can either have a saw or a square. And then we have this accent knob, which is controlling how much accent is being added to the notes with higher velocity.